Today we're going to learn about fish, and we're going to make this cool watercolor picture like this, and it's all about an artist named Paul Klee. This is a book about him, and this is his name right here. It's spelled K-L-E-E, and he's German and Swiss, so he spells his name kind of funny. But he really was into making these crazy kind of underwater scenes, and here's an example of one. It's kind of a deep blue, and it's got these really weird shaped fish kind of hanging out like they're floating under the water. And there's another one over here where it's got these two like almost prehistoric or primordial fish with like skeletons in them kind of swimming through this blue field. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make a picture about fish. So we're going to learn how to draw fish, and we're going to do direct drawing. That means I'm going to draw and you're going to draw along with me. And we're going to make this into a watercolor painting. So you can see that the background of this is watercolored, and you can see that the fish are made out of oil pastel. So we've learned about oil pastel before. We're going to learn a little bit more this time, and then we're going to apply some of our watercolor skills too. So first things first, you're going to have a nice sheet of 80-pound paper, and you're going to write your name on it. My name's Mr. Lundgren. And then you're going to write your teacher's name, Mrs. Galvin. Okay, flip your paper over. And if you're in Mrs. Ruby's class, obviously you'll write Mrs. Ruby. I'll write it up on the board just in case. You're going to flip your paper over, and we're going to start making fish. Now, the first way that you can make a fish is one line. We're going to do one with one line and one with two lines. So here's our first one. First, everyone's going to make a really big fish. Okay, we want a nice big fish, kind of in the middle. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to make one big shape. You're going to pretend you can see the mouth over here, and here's the bottom of the fish, and then go like this. Almost looks like an eyeball shape. You can imagine there's an eyeball right in here. But we're not going to draw an eyeball. We're going to draw another triangle over here. So we've got our oval first, and then we're going to have a triangle, and I'm going to make a really tall, thin triangle like that. Okay, so there's my tall, thin triangle. Okay, and now what we need to do is we need to add the eyes and the fins. Okay, so here's my eye. Just going to do a rounded eye, and then the little inside part. I'm going to put a little mouth right here. I'm going to put the gills. Then I'm going to put a triangle up at the top, and I'm going to make mine kind of a swoopy triangle like that. Then I'm going to do a little triangle down here on the bottom, and another little triangle down here. Fish usually have these kind of fins, and they usually have one here on the side as well, but we're not going to draw it because it's kind of hard to draw those ones. So we're going to move on to the next fish. Now we got one nice big fish. We're going to make another little fish down here. Okay? And so I'm going to make this one a little bit different. I'm going to make it longer. Okay, so there's like my eyeball shape kind of deal, and then we're going to make the triangle for the back. I'm going to make it really long on the bottom triangle and short on the top triangle. And I'm going to make the fin on the top and the fin on the bottom and the fin at the back, the eye and the mouth, and the gills. Okay, so we've got another fish down there. Alright, so we've got two fish. Now I'm going to get a little creative. I'm going to make a fish kind of coming in from off the page here. So I'm going to try to draw half of a like eyeball shape. You can imagine my eyeball shape goes off over here, but that's just the front of it. And I'm going to put the eye on, and the mouth, and the gills, just like that. So he's kind of like poking his head into the picture. And down here I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do the back. I'm going to kind of pretend here's the back of my fish, and here's the fin on the back, that triangle on the back, and here's the little back fin there. And that's the back of a fish kind of floating off the page this way. Alright, now I'm going to put one more right here. I'm going to put a little one, and I'm going to put a little dingle dangle on the front of his head. Okay, I'm gonna put the little, here's his top of his body, and here's the back of his body, and we're gonna make him have a big jaw. Okay, there's his jaw, and give him some teeth. And then I'm gonna put a little light on the top of his head. Give him an eyeball and make his fins back here. If you've ever seen Finding Nemo, there's that fish with the light on his head. Okay, that's gonna have one of those. Okay, so we've got about, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fish or so. We're gonna stop there at 5, so I want everyone to finish their 5 fish. Now we're gonna make some seaweed. Okay, so I'm going to take a nice big line of seaweed. I'm going to make a wiggly, wavy line. I'm going to underlap it. I'm going to stop at that fish and come out the other side and go up almost to the top of the paper. And I'm going to come down, stop at my fish, come out the other side. Alright, and there's my seaweed. I'm going to do another seaweed right here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to underlap it. Boop. And underlap it. Behind there. And then I'm going to take one more, put it back here. This one's a little complicated because I have to go under a couple fish. Okay. Like that. And there we've got 3 little bits of seaweed. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw one more seaweed right here. And I'm going to put a fish behind it. Okay, so we already had 5 fish. Now we're going to put another little fish behind it. I'm going to put my fish kind of right here. He's going to be hiding behind there. So you can kind of see him kind of hiding right behind there, and just right there. So you have to overlap that underneath there. Okay, and in the next part, and this is our done drawing, and in the next part we're going to work on the oil pastels.